With a due respect to the external sir and all of you, very good morning to all of you. My research topic is the contextual soft classification approach using multisensory remote sensing data for identification of multiple crops. So here is an amalgamation of the three domains as such. The first is the soft classification techniques or the approaches. The utility of this particular research is in the remote sensing area, and the problem definition is the crop identification or the acreage identification, means it belongs to the agriculture domain. And it is under the supervision of respected Dr. M.M. Raghunshi sir. This is the outline of my research work. I will go just to the background, why we choose this research work, some of the motivational points. I will just explore some of the literature that is related with the work, how that problem is formulated, some of the methodology that is adopted from the, and I will more emphasis on the what experiments and the results that I got throughout this tenure of this PhD, some list of publications and a few achievements that I would like to share with you. And obviously, I will end with the futuristic work. Right from the introduction, as I already told you, the problem definition is more or relevance to the agriculture department. So, giving background of this, in the government machineries, the state agriculture department plays very important role in predicting the forecast of the crop production and the acreage estimation in Maharashtra. Not in Maharashtra, actually every state do that. But I am just talking about the Maharashtra. The commodity market estimates crop production on the basis of the mass crop arrival in the market and the field prediction from the sources like there is a crop advisory board in every state which is giving the figures and statistics on the crops. On the basis of that, the fixation of the crop rates are being fixed. So is the important issue, and so is the keen issue for the social, as far as social aspect is concerned, because it directly related to the farmers. If that rate is not fixed properly, then that farmer's life or many of the lives may be affected. So how that is related with the technology as such, so that I just try to establish the link between the social and the technology as such. So the timely and the accurate acreage estimation of the crop is the prime requisite and further for better management of the crop production estimate. This crop acreage statistics prove more crucial in event of the natural calamities, because there is a crop damage assessment part that every government has to do if any natural calamity happens. But how that compensation is given to the farmers or any other one, those who are affected from the natural calamities, that is most key important issue, and there is a lot of lacunas in this particular mechanism, and this by way of technology we can attempt at least to give the solution, to the accurate solution to this particular problem. So in a nutshell, the non-availability of the accurate and the fine estimate of the forecast that is necessary for formation of the current policies on fixing of the agriculture commodity prices. So for this reason, the Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperation, Government of India initiated one project. It's a national project that is called FASL, that is the forecasting of agriculture outputs through the satellite and agrimeteorology and land-based observations. It is the initiation by the SAC, that is the Space Application Center, Ahmedabad. Basically, they are the coordinator at the national level, and they envisage the use of remote sensing and GIS technology for addressing this particular activity. And hence, the state remote sensing, in every state there is a one remote sensing center. I belong to one of the state remote sensing center. So every state there is a state remote sensing center, and they are serving this mandate of this particular project. So they are the participatory. So how the role of this remote sensing technology is there in addressing such kind of a very key issue as such. So we know that the remotely sensed data is ideal source of mapping and the land cover and land uses basically. And due to its multispectral nature and the repetitive coverage, the remote sensing data is most suitable for rapid assessment of the crops. Because that assets from the remote sensing, nobody can challenge. I can question the inputs from any man or man-made manual inputs that may be malpractices, but from the area that is extracted from the remote sensing data, because it's a third eye in the sky which never lies, basically. So that is why the area estimated from that satellite images are always accurate as such. So that's why I told you, SAC Ahmedabad used this multi-date single sensor remote sensing data for estimating specific crop. For example, RadarSat data is used for assessing, and the ResourceSat data is used for the cotton and the sugarcane crops. But they are using the single sensors. The just point is that, the one point is that, the being state in the state remote sensing center, the implementation of FASL was entrusted to our office, that is Maharashtra Remote Sensing Application Center, and it is obvious that the MRSAC were the following that methodology or model that is proposed by the SAC, and there were so many lacunas into that model which has been adopted at the national level for forecasting of the crops. That was the one of the motivational point for me to take up this particular problem definition. So as I already told you, it is obvious that crop estimates from the crop advisory board and the government are often remains unmatched due to the non-qualitative and unreliable approach. The conventional method for gathering crop acreage are very cumbersome. If anybody asks to how much cotton is sown in Maharashtra, so the question is very simple, but answer is very difficult, because that has to gather from each and every village of Maharashtra. That is approximately 45,000 villages in Maharashtra, and it's really, if technology is not there, so this kind of jobs that government has to do actually, that is very difficult. So let us, we'll contribute to this particular field or not. That was another motivation of this particular research. And the people were using just normal, still they are using just plain statistical classifier for classifying the remote sensing data, like the maximum likelihood or NDVI algorithms and all. Multi-date sensor data used for identification of a single crop, whereas no estimation provided due to the non-availability of the optical remote sensing data, because in the monsoon season optical remote sensing never works. It has to be some other mechanism for that, and that's why this concept of multi-sensory approach is most important for achieving such kind of objectives. So no attempt was made towards the incorporation of the contextual information into the knowledge engine in this particular process, and it's really a matter of investigation that how model behaves if we use some of the contextual information in terms of features or in terms of algorithms, we can say that, in the soft classification approaches. Another motivation is the Dr. Anil Kumar from ISRO. He has worked on these particular aspects, and he has also encouraged me to take up this particular work further more, to one or two steps more, and that was another again motivation part for me, and I was really motivated by his contribution. So this is all about the background of that research work, why I take up. Then we'll gradually go on, and as per the suggestion of the expert, whatever the objective I have said, I have to go on adding the values to that particular objective, and I just travel. So this is what the conceptual journey towards this problem formulation. We have started with very conventional classification approaches, then the sub-pixel classifications. Then gradually it comes to the statistical based classifications like maximum likelihood and all. Then the people have started using the learning based classification like fuzzy, neural or AMN. So everybody has its pros and cons in itself. And then people have started combining both, that is the hybrid classifications, that is the statistical learning based classification. And my work is based on this particular statistical learning based classifications only. Then we can add the contextual some features to this particular statistical learning based sub-classification, and we can add the multi-source in the sense not only the remote sensing data, we have to add the ancillary data from the governments also, so as to validate all these works. So that's a multi-source approach that is to be created, and whatever the output we generate, the crop statistics, that has to be validated by some external source. That was envisaged, but unfortunately that could not be done because that data was not available. That's a land suitability model. There is one head organization, NBSS LUP in Nagpur on Amravati Road. That's the National Bureau of Soil Science and Land Use Planning. That is not just near ISRO Center. And that office has this particular land suitability. They are just predicting that which land is good for which kind of crop. But they are doing on the demand basis that I came to know later. So that's why that portion was not covered into that. And in this add on to this statistical learning based, I just use some R tools also and some GPU approach also, some EA based approach, and I just touch upon this Hadoop and big data computing approaches. I will not go into much detail of the literature survey because everybody knows this. As per the literature survey, the people have came across that SVM was performing well, support vector machine was performing well in across every domain, but special contrast to the remote sensing and that to special contrast to the agriculture or the crop identification part, it's really doing wonderful job. And out of that, another norms are there, the Euclidean or diagonal or Mahalanobis. Out of the diagonal Mahalanobis, it is surveyed that is performing for the agriculture land or identifying that agriculture crops.
HCM and PCM, these are clustering algorithms, right?
Yeah.
Possibilistic Siemens and fuzzy Siemens. So why are you, why in this table you are comparing a classifier with clustering approach?
Sir, fuzzy Siemens can, it's a clustering one.
That means unsupervised.
Yeah.
Labeled data, right?
Yeah. Correct, sir. That's was the comparison done in one of the papers. That just I put on this. But still, I have just given the ANN and the other comparison also that I didn't include it over here. But sir, it's there around. So in nutshell, when we say that, that's why I just try to focus on the SVM part, that is support vector machine. So basically, it's a supervised classification algorithm. Basically, it is a binary classification. But we can convert it into the multi-class classifications. That there are some techniques, and basically non-parametric statistical learning-based algorithm it is. It overcomes some drawbacks of the traditional classification algorithms, like this poor support for the high dimensionality by the statistical classifier. It's a slow computations. It's not the we can say the actual limitation because there are some again advancement into that. But it's a general limitations that I came to know. That slow computation by the neural network and the fuzzy classifiers, the poor generalization by the ANN. So summarizing this SVM is the features of the SVMs are the high computationally efficiency is there, robust in the high dimensionality is there, good in generalization, and hence it works well with the even small training set of data. But with the experimentation, I got some different results, so that I will share with you also. The control accuracy and there is the superior performance in specially classifying the hyperspectral image, which is very good for the vegetation analysis as far as the remote sensing domain is concerned. So in nutshell, I sum up with this that SVM is the best for this particular approaches, and that's why I choose to work on this particular SVM part.
Is your problem inherently a binary classification problem because SVMs are binary classifiers, right?
Yes, sir, but that can be converted into multi-class using this.
You are using this one versus all approach or something?
Yeah, sir. Yes, sir. That is converted into the multi-class using these two approaches. It's all-in-one, where the all binary outputs is being combined into the one and then process, or one into one. So again, literature survey says that one into one is the best as compared to the all-in-one. So that was the based on this. So these are the some literature surveyed output. Another part was the contextual classifier. Unfortunately, this I was envisaged, but I just as per the expert comment, then I have to divert to my research to the some other relevant things. So as per the contextual classifier, there are 6. As per literature, the best one is the 6th one. Out of this micro random field, MRF and the special AdaBoost classifier are giving the good results as far as the in relation with this particular context is there. So special AdaBoost and the MRF based classifier are showing excellent performance, whereas the MRF is very popular for incorporating the special class dependency like the special context, and AdaBoost also showing the excellent performance similar to that MRF. It shows the literature. So I will not go into the much detail of the literature. So this is my study area in Maharashtra, Nagpur, and Nagpur near the Savner. That is my study area, because we in remote sensing, in order to validate the things, we need to do ground truth also. So that's why I choose the very adjacent area to besides the Nagpur. And the process flow is that since it's a multi-sensor data, there are 3 types of data in the remote sensing. One is the multispectral, hyperspectral, and microwave. Means optical and the microwave is the basic category, basically you can say that. So I use the 2 data sets of optical and 1 data set of microwave. So this was the process flow. And this after that we need to do the geo-rectification of the data, then creation of the training samples, which need to refer to the auxiliary data from the government statistics or the Survey of India topo sheets also sometimes, and then the classification approach, that is soft or hard classifications. And there we can investigate, and we are supposed to develop an improved soft computing classification algorithm for identification of the multiple crops. And SVM obviously used for that. For accuracy assessment, again I say that there was mandate to validate it with the land suitability model, but unfortunately that we could not do it. Now these are the list of experimentation that I carried out during my PhD tenure. So that's the image procurement was the very difficult and the time consuming job as far as this research work is concerned. So that I take actually so it was take totally 2 hours for me, 2 years for me to do that one. Then pre-processing of remote sensing data is done, and I have just conducted some experiments on the sample data before coming out the actual data. The training site selection is done through my field survey. I have done the physical field survey, and I collected the GPS points and related to the crop fields. I will show you how that is done. Then development of some MATLAB SVM implementation for classifications. Then collection of some ancillary data of the crop statistics from the government. Development by, there was a limitation to the MATLAB that I could not freely implement my ideas. So I just switch over to another platform, that is Java implementation. I started writing the code in the Java for the SVM. So development of the heuristic search based approach for optimized SVM. So there was two again as per the suggestion of the experts or the from the progress seminars. So somebody suggests me to go for the feature selection. So then I just diverted it to the so I just apply the heuristic search based application first, and then genetic based feature selection using this JC LEC libraries. So then the development of the evaluation algorithm based code for the optimization of SVM parameters. So GA is used for two things. One is for the feature selection, another is optimizing the parameter of support vector machine. So this is how. And again some suggestion came that since considering the total overall scenario, these problems comes under the big data computing, because satellite images are very heavy. It's temporal in nature because the multi-date images are there. So 3 V's of the big data satisfied into this particular domain. So I have just touched upon this approach also. So GA-GPU based approach for SVM that I have just tried to implement and establish the platform and setup for that, and try to perform some basic experimentation on that. And I have also attached to the R Hadoop integration with the for SVM implementations. So this is all the listing of the experiments. So I will more focus on the experimentation is done. So for this experimentation of the sample data work, I just prepare the sample data sets initially. There are 3 data sets that I use. The ResourceSat satellite data, that is the LIS4 sensor, which is having the 5.8 resolution. Meter resolution, Cartosat data, that is the 2.5 meter resolutions, and the auto-rectified merge product. Means there is a technique to fuse this database for the again enhancement of the images. So that merge product, which is having the effective resolution of 2.5, that's the high resolutions. So I just prepared the data sets initially, the 5 data sets, one for the just classifying in the 1 class classification, 2 class classifications, and 3, 4, and like multi-class classifications. So that's the experimental setup. These are the sample for the 1 class data problem. See, the first one is the colored image, that is called multispectral image, LIS4, 5.8 resolution. Another is a black and white, is a high resolution image as compared to the LIS4, that is the 2.5, and the combination of both is the merge product. Then I just prepare the data set for 2 class classification problem. Then prepare data as a 3 class classification problem, then multi-class classification problem. Then I perform the basic experimentation on the each class, each data set. Say for 1 class classification problem, then I come to know that this SVM and maximum likelihood and this parallelopride, these are giving the 100% accuracy as such for this data set. This was just the basic experimentation that I did, not the actual data. Then I perform this same experimentation on the actual data also. Then I calculate the kappa coefficient for that also, for the accuracy work. This was the output of the one class Cartosat data, that is the black and white data, but high resolution data. Again, here it is changed that the earlier the maximum distance was not giving the much promising result, but then maximum distance started giving the promising result for a year. And another algorithm was not performing well. Then the one class merge product, then I combined both the data set, black and white and color, and then I again check the same accuracies of the classifiers over here. Again SVM was performing well. But this was the very small data set as such. When then I tried this particular thing on the bigger data set. Bigger data set, this is the satellite imagery data, or it's a satellite imagery mosaic of entire taluka. It's a Fulton taluka in Satara. I just mosaic entire taluka image, and this I try to just perform the classifications to this particular image using the existing softwares. And this maximum Fuzzy-based this MLC is giving very poor result into this particular case, and the Kappa coefficient is also very 0.42 here. Again, I just tried the Fuzzy-based parallel piped algorithm, and its accuracy was not much promising. And that was the motivation to go for the big data computing concepts, because this needs to process and efficient algorithm is needed, and the processing speed, the set of the art concepts are needed for that. Here is some vector map for the agriculture area. The two classes I just targeted in this particular case. One is the agriculture area, another is the wasteland. And I related this information to the ground truth information. I collected the ground truth over there, and on the basis of the ground truth, the kappa accuracies is being calculated using this ground reference point. And this is how the is the process basically, and this is how the results come with the total ground reference point 36. The accuracy of this agriculture land class comes to be 59 only, with the kappa accuracy to 38, and the accuracy for the wasteland comes to the 76. And this is what the formula of the kappa coefficient on using which we can calculate the accuracy of the thematic data. We can see that. Then on the same data set, I applied the this is the learning based algorithm. Then I same data set I tried to apply the support vector machine. Support vector machine, when I tried to apply it, I keep my machine on right from the 6 p.m. to 10 a.m. But it was not giving that much promising result. No, it was totally hanged. And that was again the motivation for me to go ahead or to suggest some solutions which will address such kind of problems. So like that, now the next phase was the data acquisitions. So I just acquired that data, and this was too late for acquisition of this data. And this LIS4 is been acquired on the 11th December 2013, Cartosat in 2014 Feb. Because I have to consider the crop cycles also, which crops I have to target for classification. Accordingly, that data sets and all is been selected, and that's why this is the another third data set, that is the research data set, and this was the acquisition process exactly that we need to follow. We have taken the help of the ISRO scientists also for processing such kind of data. This was the field survey that conducted by me physically to identify the training for training sites. I have to identify the fields, and on basis of that, then I have to train the classifiers. This is all the geo-rectifications of the GPS field locations I have done in and around the Savaner Taluka. This is a zoom view of that with these village boundaries. I have just identified these crop fields. I physically go there with the GPS enabled camera, and we have collected the photographs as well as the GPS points. So as to identify now, I can identify confirmly that this is the crop, standing crop here, cotton or gram or whatever it may be. And accordingly that I can give the training to the algorithm. The confirmed samples is needed for that. And to have this confirmed samples, this all process has to be done into this remote sensing. This is the photographs and this respective satellite view. It needs now the data pre-processing part to perform the experimentations. I just cut down all the big images into the village-wise images. We have seek the help from the ISRO also for that. There is a process of the orthorectification. The meaning of the orthorectification is to make that satellite data more accurate geometrically. The geometric corrections of the satellite data is being done using this process of the orthorectification. Obviously, there is a long process. I will not go into the most detail of that. But if you can see here, this is the Kastuchand Park of Nagpur. See that triangle, how deviation is it. One pixel where represents the 5.8. So how many pixels will be deviated from there? So this is what the effect of this orthorectification. So before performing any classification, we need to do the orthorectification, or it is suggested to do the orthorectification of that data. We have just performed some data fusions using this particular satellite images, and we come to know that we have used these HIS, wavelet, Brouwer and PCA and Gram-Schmidt fusions. And with this one, we come to know that the speed of the wavelet, spread of the wavelet sharpened histogram was approximating to the original one, multispectral spectrum. The mean of the wavelet fused image is almost equals to the mean of the original, and hence it shows that the spectral information is preserved in this case using this wavelet one. But observing the values from the entropy, it can be said that illusion fused images have larger entropy contents than the original multispectral. Therefore, the special feature enhancement using this detailed spatial information make object more clear for identification. So, in case of the entropies of the wavelet and the Brouwer fused images are very nearer to the original multispectral one. So that was the effect of the data fusion technique, that is again the pre-processing part of this. So now we started with the implementation of the MATLAB for the classifications. So MATLAB implementation, I have just taken the two test image and I just test it for SVM output and some optimized, very basic generic GA implementation that is already available in the MATLAB. I didn't do anything to that, just I tried to apply it whether it is affecting or not. So I have found that there is no effect as such of that particular with this training data set. It might be that very less number of training instances might be given to that particular algorithm. So again I just work on that, and the time taken for this SVM was 1.969 seconds, and the optimized one is taking rather more time rather than the plain approach. Then I tried it same with the another implementation with another image. That's the whole image of the one village. That's a Burgaon image, and tried the training of this SVM using this MATLAB. Then it took the 16 seconds as such, and for classification it took the 52 seconds. But I keep that SVM kernel as a linear kernel only, so as to check what's the time I take in training and the classification phase. This was the Burgaon image, and this was the training samples which has been collected. Total 30 training samples has been collected for that. This is the GUI that I developed in the Java, so as to perform the experimentations. And there are the parameters. Here are the parameters that I have the liberty of choosing the algorithm also, but I have tried it first for the SVM only. I can choose any kernel and accordingly the parameters. And so what's the advantage of doing this that I later came to know? There was a process of selecting the training sites. So we have tried that, and we have performed the training and the testing of that data. So I have the videos also, so which can directly show how it performs and the live things, how it is to be done. So this was the just process, the testing and output, and I can cross check it with the original and the classified output, and I can have the confusion matrix for calculating the accuracies of that. So what the conclusion that I just came to know, the total geographic area was the 605, irrigated area was the 204, and total zone area was the 130 hectares. And when I just apply the SVM, the linear kernel, it comes about the 136 hectares, and the area estimated from the SVM RBF kernel, that was 141 hectares. So that not much difference in terms of the areas that we came to know. So that was the realistic, means that was not, the experiment shows that it is realistic to do this particular job. When I compare the MATLAB and the Java implementation, I come to know that in case of the linear kernel, it was taking, Java implementation was taking the 0.386 seconds, but whereas the MATLAB implementation took the 16 seconds. And when it comes to the SVM classification part, it took just 28 seconds, and the MATLAB implementation take the 52 seconds. So this was the comparative view why this approach has been selected. So that was the, and this is the statistics that I collected from the government records for validation of the crops. Now here is the overall SVM implementation for remote sensing images. So there are very research gaps were there. So there were the known features. We can see that the input features. We can add more features for better accuracies to this input features. And there is always scope for selecting the relevant features as such. That is the feature optimization part, or adding the contextual features also. Then there is a scope for the optimizations for the SVM parameters, obviously in the SMO also. And there is a freedom of designing our own kernel. So that's why actually my intention was to write some, not the exactly kernel, but there are so many 42 kernels as per literature survey. It is said that there are 42 types of kernel available. So I was about to try that coding of that kernels and then testing which one is suitable for this particular problem. So that was my intention basically, but it was really next to, it was not possible in the due course of time to attempt all the 44. I have tried few of them, and I will just show the results of that. Then after training, there is the generation of the trained model. Model is been created in the SVM with the optimal parameter. Then we have to test that image on the top of using that model, and then we are getting the classified output. There are some contextual features as far as the remote sensing area is concerned, or the satellite images are concerned, that are categorized into the shape, spectral and texture, and there are adjacencies also and elevation data also. But when I say, again it's a generalized features, but when I come to the special context features as such, then we can categorize it in the spectral size, shape, text, pattern and entropy and colors. But with the special context to the agriculture domain, again there is a vector mass. Vector mass means, see, there is an entire village image, and I have to just analyze or make the analysis or classification of agriculture area. So I needed to bother about what is water available, what is forest available, what is other things are available. So I can apply the mass of water, I can take out that area, so that my burden of my classifier can be minimized. So that was the importance of the vector mask. We can say that there is a ready-made mask available in our fraternity, remote sensing fraternity. We can apply directly before applying the actual classification. Then vegetation indices are there, that is good for agriculture domain. Then the crop cycle need to be considered, and LAI, that is the leaf area index, need to be considered. In the properties of the satellite images, radiometry, number of bands, spatial resolution, and these are all the parameters that need to be considered. And how that crop looks like on the satellite image, how to identify that. So gram is giving some smooth pinkish color, and it is exhibiting dark red color. Cotton is been shown with a mixed pattern, that's some muddy greyish colors, and sugarcane is indicated by the magenta color basically. Then I just started performing the SVM classifications again for checking that what is the effect of number of training samples plus number of pixels on the SVM classifications. So for that particular one, I have just set the configuration of the parameter setting was that I used the RVM kernel with the 8 neighbors pixel patterns, and number of iterations I set to just 2, and approximate cotton pixels were chosen for 450 and 500. So after that, then the training of SVM, that is creation of the region of interest for the single site. For single site, I have just given the, I try to keep the constant number of pixels, even though I change the number of training sample. This means that I am just feeding the variety of the pixels. There is a variety of the pixels because I am choosing it from the different region. So that was the main context using this. Like this, I just choose and taken out the output from this, and I calculated the cotton area out of that. So this is for creating 2 training sites for SVM, I will not go into the much detail of that. So like that I have just created up to 6. So that was the creation of the 6 training sites for SVM classification, and these were the pixel counts over here, and that pixel count has been converted into the area, because that's very easy formula, that is not much difficult. So using this analysis, we came to know that even if you use the number of samples like 1 to 6, but we keep constant number of pixels, then the classified area comes approximately the same. Instead of this single sample where I choose the number of pixels as the big portion I choose from the single site, that is the 470, means same type of pixels I choose. So if the variety of pixel is been considered, then the accuracy is come to be the closer to that what we are expecting. So that's why the accuracy in the case of the single samples was 186.87. So that was totally this is not relevant as such in the range of that what we are expecting. So it shows that even number of samples increases, keeping the number of training pixel almost, and there will be no significant effect on the crop acreage except that first case. Then the experimentation of the some SVM kernel, I try to work on that. So I just try to work on that which kernel is suitable for this SVM classification pertaining to the remote sensing data. As I already told you, there was a provision to include the number of kernels, and we can add the code to that number of kernels, and we can test it on our platform. So the experimentation on this particular, the basic 4 kernel I just considered for SVM classification, the linear, sigmoid and intersection and ANOVA. So using this, the linear kernel is deemed to be more fitted into the training and the testing one. On contrary, the time taken for the classification was much more rather than the other kernels. The rest 3 kernels like this sigmoid and intersection and ANOVA, that perform equal, almost equal in terms of the accuracy and time complexity. Whereas this sigmoid and ANOVA kernel performance was almost identical. So this is an exhibit that the fact about that multispectral satellite data set that is used for this experimentation is linearly separable, because this linear was giving the good results as compared to the other one. So that we can conclude that whether the data is linearly separable or it's a non-linear one in nature. So there are some basic experimentation was done on the reset images also. This is the microwave image, and this is good for this concept come into picture because in the rainy season we cannot acquire the optical remote sensing data, and if we want to calculate the crop, we need to take into consideration all type of satellite image for the single region. So that's why is come into pictures with this polarizations, two polarization for the reset Indian microwave data, that is reset data is there. For 2 polarization I equated the image for HH and HV, and we conclude that HV polarization of the reset data of the microwave satellite image is best suitable for the agriculture application as compared to the HH, and these are the figures that from this it is devised. Then I started performing the feature selection using the GA based approach in connection with the SVM. So it's a GA based implementation. Results are, objective was the satellite image feature selection using the genetic algorithm and SVM. So I just convert my particular satellite image into the CSV file. That code is written for that. Then the system parameter has been set. Then I choose the GA parameter settings, the population 100, generation 100, and genes I take the 6, the feature I take 6, the main 3 RGBs, and another is the 3 contextual features to that. Then mutator I choose 1 locus, selection was tournament, and coding was binary. So we can change this setting as well, because my objective was to set the experimental base, and once it has been set, we can test with any kind of combinations over here. That was the main objective, so as to decide upon which one is good for feature selection in case of the SVM. For SVM settings, for the first experiment I use linear kernel. For second experiment I use RBF kernel. Number of instances were approximately 11,000, and the number of features were selected for the 6. Then the result I got was, for the linear kernel I keep started this experiment on December 4, 2015 at 6:09 p.m. And my experiment I continuously keep on my machine. My machine is the Xeon processor, it's a workstation, not the plain machine. It's a good configuration machine. Still it takes approximately 104 hours for feature selection of this particular data set. And in the case of the linear one, and in second experiment it took almost 36 hours in the RBF case. It's a 1 day completely, 12 hours. And in case of the linear, is continuously 4 days my machine was on. So this is what the computation savvy approach basically, and hence is need to address by the researcher, and it is really of importance to solve this particular thing using this. If it could happen actually in the real sense and really the optimal results have been achieved, then this would be a very good contribution to this particular field, and we can serve the mandate of the government also using such a kind of solutions. Then the selection of the best features of SVM linear using the GA, that experimentation we have performed. We got the text results like this only, and it was very cumbersome to collect these results and show it to the representation format. Raghuvanshi sir has helped me a lot for that, and really it was his field. He was the master in the genetic one, so that's why I got a lot of help from him, and I could compile this particular results. Now observations was, the lower the fitness variance, closer will be the solutions to that. Closer will be the values of the median and the average fitness, then better will be the possibility of the convergence. So for almost best fitness, all the features is being selected. So that I have highlighted one also. And majority of the worst fitness have 4 number of bands. Means there are 6 features, and for the best fitness at least 4 number of bands were needed from these particular experimentations. So this shows that the data is almost linearly separable. So that was the scatter plot of that. Then another experiment that I performed using the RBF kernel of the SVM, the same one using GA, and there was the lowest fitness variance comes to be 0.021, and the its majority of the worst fitness have fitness value as a 1. So that I could not understand that part actually. Average fitness, there is a need to drill down to this particular issue by the researcher, why it comes to like that. And the average fitness and the median fitness values are deviating by the large difference. There should not be actually very much difference between the average fitness and the median fitness. And hence the GA-based solutions for the SVM RBF kernel was not suggested for this particular kind of data sets. And we can try another different GA operators, selection mechanism, or any other parameters, mutators and all. So there, in my particular setup, there is a provision of selecting any kind of thing, any kind of combinations, and perform the experiment. Since it was taking too much time, so I could not get time to perform all the selections or all the combinations of the mutators, the selection methods, the unique binary or encoding methods, so that we can do any number of we can experiment on any number of combinations, and we can conclude that which combination is best for doing this particular job for SVM based. So this is the feature selections. This was the selection based, this was the parameter settings of the SVM as such, training and testing of that, and calculation of the fitness value. This coding shows, exhibit that. These were the results of the, so we have started with the 100 populations. Then sir has suggested, if there are the 6 features, so approximately it should be 64 feature space should be used the 64. So that was not the realistic. So that's why we started using the heuristic approach also. So where it could be a realistic one. So from that we came to know that the GA-based fitness is come to like that for this particular one, for this particular feature. So our observation in this particular case, when applying the heuristic also, and the comparison of that heuristic approach to the GA approach using this SVM. So can get the best SVM accuracies even if we use the mean features of one of the band in the image. Surprisingly, even in the absence of the main RGB band of the image. Means that we have used the 6 feature main RGB band of the satellite image. Apart from that, 3 contextual features, that's the mean of that. And even if I use the one mean features, then again, even if that, but still I get the best SVM accuracy. So minimum one contextual feature is adding to the accuracy part, that doesn't mean. So there will be no effect on the accuracies even if the RGB band adds to the combination of the mean RGBs. So if I make the combination of, see what G is doing, G is on the fly selecting out of 6 which is the best, and it is giving to the SVM for the further processing. So that is what the fantastic thing, and we can do that, and it is more relevant if the number of features are more. I just tried it for 6 just to establish the mechanism, but if that number of features are 64 or 20 or 25, then it will be again efficiently perform this particular job. The number of support vectors ranges from 117 to the 4110, whereas the average number of support vectors found to be 1553. When no features were selected, the algorithm found to be minimum support vectors, that is 1172. However, the number of support vectors tall up to the maximum capacity of 4100 in event of 2 features has been selected for training and testing of the satellite images. So this was the observations. Then another experiment that I performed, that to finding the optimal SVM parameters using this SGE, the standard steady state genetic algorithm. And for that I have used the Java class library for evolutionary computing. This open source APIs, and that can be easily used in the Java board. That is the advantage of using our own implementation. Otherwise, again in MATLAB there will be we have to restrict with what is available in the MATLAB only. We cannot play with what is in our mind or what is the other researchers are doing across the world. So that is what the beauty of having our own setup for experimentations. So from this also there are various parameters, the degree, gammas, coefficient depending on the kernel. This parameter has been selected, and we started this experiment again, and total time taken was the 5 hours for this particular one. And we can see that the optimal value of the SVM penalty parameter of the C. So there is a parameter, bias parameter of the SVM C. We have tried to optimize that parameter, and we try to find out what is the best value using this GA approach. So it found to be the 4.9 depending on this particular experiment. And this was the minimum iterations was this, maximum iterations and average iterations for doing this job. Then I touch upon this another concept of parallel computing to this SVM approach, the GPU and the Hadoop also. I tried the very basic. This is just to because again some experts suggest that you should go for this particular thing, because the satellite images are very prone to the very relevant to the big data computing domain. So I tried to touch upon these particular aspects also. For that, what was the main issue as such? The issue related to the processing of the satellite images were main is the scalability. As I told you, I started with very small training data set, then I experimented on the Taluba image as such. So the scalability factor is there always. Means, can I think that in a single click, can I think that I can have the what area of cotton is being shown in particular year in Maharashtra? Can it be envisioned in a single click? So that was the attempt, or that was the vision for doing such kind of thing. If we could do all this best of best thing in total scenario, so we could really achieve that objective, and that is really a mandate for the government to do it, and they are desperately looking for such kind of solutions, and where the technocrats could contribute to this particular field. So satellite images are very big data source of information, as we know everybody, and it's very challenging and computationally demanding problems, and especially intractable for the traditional CPU architectures. So CPU architecture having limitations for processing such kind of big data as such. So classification problems are becoming more and more demanding and challenging for classifier in the quest of the higher accuracies. And GPU, what's the advantage of? It's a highly parallel, structured, and it's a computational engine. So I just started performing again very basic experimentation. I started with the very single core GPUs and versus single core CPUs and versus GPU approaches. So when I perform it with the very basic CUDA libraries, I used CUDA for that, basic implementations. When I perform this experimentation on the trial data set, I just created artificially, I just pick up the 50 instance state from my input data sets pertaining to SVM training. My objective was the SVM training only. Just I want to check whether what time it takes for training of the SVM. Then CPU takes almost 1.357 seconds, whereas the GPU takes 0.9 seconds. So there is a change, there is a achievement in the terms of time. That's proves. It's well known fact, but I have tried to substantiate it with my own experimentation whether it's really happened to this particular data or not. Then I have just tried with the single core CPU and GPU approach again. I just increase the size of the instances. So I just give the CSV file of 6 MB with the labeled as a class 1 and class 2. It's a binary classifier, as sir told already. It's a binary classifier. I tried with the label one class as a 1 and other as a 2. So CPU takes there 14 seconds and GPU takes there 35 seconds. So I was really puzzled why this happens. Because it might be the now inherent implementation of the CUDA libraries, okay, what they have designed and what their problem is. Because I just substantiate this fact with another experiment. I just tried to give the label of that particular SVM as a 1 and -1. Then again that particular fact comes into picture that CPU was taking the less time as compared to the GPU. So this is the really facts of investigations. The researchers should focus on this, why such things are happening with this less number of data sets or small number of data sets. So that's the, then I tried the varying size of pixels, the image resolutions. Then I tried to compare the CPU time and the GPU time of that particular one with the block size of 1000, 750 and 500. So lower is the block size, GPU is not performing well because it needs some chunk of data for achieving the degree of parallelism. So that's why more is the block size or more is the data, GPU is giving the more promising results as compared to the CPU. So that was the basic experimentation is done over here. Then we have tried to again add on to this particular fact. I tried various kernels that is available already in the MATLAB, and then I tried to come to know that the maximum efficiency is obtained in the quadratic kernel, but improvement in the overall efficiency of MLP kernel can be seen. While SVM implementation based feature selection on populations instances shows increase in the accuracy by factor of 1.5 for MLP and for 1.04 for quadratic kernel, and also improvement for U8, that is unsigned integer 8 format, is equals to the double format. So there is a difference between these two formats. Unsigned integer is truncating that pixel numbers into the 255, while the double is preserving that information as such. So that was again the problem, and that's why problem with my Java implementation also, because there was a buffer image which was taking the 8-bit. That was the restriction was the 8-bit over here for processing that particular image. So really, if the solution was given to that particular implementation to accept the 16-bit data and to process that data as the 16-bit, it will do wonders also, that particular implementations. So that is why the things are, the SVM model generates is tested on the various images, and the label output of binary classifier is obtained in the range of 0, 1. So that was the, this was the output. Then the first row, that was the first test sites. The second is the plain SVM approach. The second row shows the plain SVM, and is the just GA based SVM output that particular third row is talking about. The last point that is the that I touch upon to this to address, because it's a image processing domain and big data processing, but keeping in the accuracy also and processing and the space complexity also. So there is a very complex thing. But still I try to give the spectrum of the basic things so that we can evolve on that particular thing, and really then we can have, one day we will have some solutions that, as I told you, on the single click there should be the provision that how much cotton is being shown into the Maharashtra. That was the final destination that is envisaged in total of this particular research work. In this concept, our SVM in R is being integrated with the Hadoop. So even though I didn't implement for its multiple node in the Hadoop, I use only single node only. So R is being integrated using some packages are there in SVM. So R is integrated with SVM, and this structure is integrated with the Hadoop using this common architecture of the Hadoop, that is HDFS and MapReduce. So this is what the integration of R with Hadoop. The packages are being used, that is RSDFC and RRNR, PLYR, RBase, and this is available. That is nothing to, this is not new to everybody. So experimental setup, that standalone RSVM that I used and integrated R Hadoop. So there are again, apart from R Hadoop, there was two other techniques, streaming and other one is there. But R Hadoop is, as per literature survey, R Hadoop was giving the good results for the special kind of data. So that's why I just choose this for just having the basic experimentations. So RSVM package is being used for that. This is the package which is connecting the R and SVM, that is E1071 for SVM classifications. This was the overall process flow. When I will give the input satellite image to this, obviously for training part also we can give it to multiple nodes, and for testing part also we can give the multiple nodes. Even with the different classes also we can process, and we can connect the results, and we can have the classified output using the Hadoop architectures. Very default one implementation done using the very default parameters of SVM. And this is the in R when SVM is tested. So as the number of pixel increases, the time complexities also increases simultaneously for training as well as the testing of the data. So this result shows it's a basic this experiment as such. Nothing it's not that much. It's a basic conclusion that we can draw. Again, the classification of the satellite image in the CSV file is integrated with R Hadoop. And really that was showing that for training this instances, it was taking the less time, 61.3826. And this is the R Hadoop plus SVM implementation with a single node, not the multiple node. But one can always try that. Once it has been succeeded for a single node, multiple node also can be planned. So this is what the area is been taken out from this cotton and non-cotton area, and the accuracies are being calculated accordingly. So that 98.35, again the same image, that Bodgaon village image, I experimented with all with the same image only, so as to have the uniformity and the comparison between the different approaches. This is how we have calculated the average times. And see, when the plain R SVM is been executed, it takes 77.60 seconds, we can say that. Sorry that I didn't mention the unit for this. And when it is implemented in the R Hadoop implementation, it takes 71. So we have the gain of the 5.789 is not is less, but still the experiment shows that it's worth to do it. We can say that. So that's why we can go for such kind of thing. And in nutshell, the big data plays very important role in recent trends of computer science that I need not to tell. The R supports big data computation with Hadoop. The integration of R and Hadoop environment reduces time complexity. Yes, balance time complexity and accuracy in case of specially remote sensing data. The real-time satellite image processing can be possible using the cloud computing. Means that's now even I would like to share one fact that even government is now thinking of to migrate their all data to the Microsoft cloud. So the thinking is changing. It's not the traditional way of doing the government also. The government psychology is also changing. So one day will come that all processing will be done on the online only. So that is what they envisage into this particular one. So using GPU, performance of the pixel can be increased. This is what the thing. So this is, I came to the end of this, what the solutions we have provided for the addressing that particular problems. So feature scope is always there for, we can attempt the various vegetation indices. NDVIS is the very basic one, but there are so many indices that to sensor specific. So there are sensor specific indices also. We can try it depending on which satellite image we are taking. Accordingly we can choose the indices. Then the use of the contextual classifier, I have already told you, this is a very one of the things that we need to understand. What's the blend of this contextual classifier with the SVM is done? Is there anything fruitful that we can do it? That's there. Then we can have the development of our own kernel. As I told you, there are 42 kernels available across. I surveyed the literature, but we can think of your own kernel. If you are innovative, you can think of your own kernel and you can have the design of that, and you can test it with the SVM with the addressing the particular problem. Then really the optimization of SVM using EA, other approaches is also there like DER, DSO. We can try for that one also. And the big data, it's very mature, means it's a very basic experimental setup that I have done. There is a lot many things again to do it, and one can attempt this particular, extend that particular research by attempting so many state-of-the-art technologies in the big data computing. These are my publications, some of the in IEEE conferences. One is Springer book chapter is there. And this is what paper award, best paper award I have received in the INDICOM 2014. This is the achievement for me. As such, it's my pleasure to share with you this. And another was I received the best doctoral award also in the same conference when I present in the consent of my guide. I present my work, and there was the scrutiny of the research committee was there, and I was given the best research doctoral research award. But they didn't deny to give it me certificate for that, because they say we cannot give it, but they declare it also there, and they give the paper award for this certificate for this. So that's a very pathetic thing for me. And one of the most the very pride for me that I have signed the contracts with the US-based MNC Precision Hawk for crop acreage estimation. This is Precision Hawk is basically working in UAV or drones, because it's an emerging area in the remote sensing now. Using drones, the pictures have been taken, and their very high resolution pictures are there. Even that resolution is below the 10 centimeter. What you are using the Google is just 0.5, means 50 centimeter. But these drones are giving the resolution of the images below 10 centimeter. Means like 6 to 5 that we are getting. We have experimented with that. So this company is dealing with that, and using drone they are also envisaging the same thing. Once they will take the flight, it should be on the fly process, and it should give what is there inside that photographs. So for that they choose, is they wants to tie up with us. Just I signed the NDA with them, and now we are having the dialogue with that particular company. And on the basis of my Springer publications, I received the invitation for the speaker in this satellite and space mission, but unfortunately that is scheduled at the July. Fortunately I got the grant from the DST, a grant for the travel support. I received the grant for the registration and all from Chennai based one organization. Unfortunately I had to cancel it due to my PhD submission. So it's not, so this is what the invitation I got from them. Thank you very much. And this study may encourage the soil scientist, agroeconomist, agriculturist, and decision maker in the entire agriculture domain towards an effective use of the remote sensing and GIS technology in their monitoring and the planning policies. Thank you.
Any question from the audience, please?
Sir,
Yes.
whatever sample data that you use in the subsequent stages for the analysis, is it a real-time data which you have taken from the satellite directly in the MRSAT?
No. There is
As you
no
belong to
mechanism.
remote sensing center.
No, there is no mechanism of acquisition of the real-time data. That there are two mechanisms for acquisitions of the data. One is the fresh fresh tasking, it is called as. Another is the archival. Satellite is repeatedly rotating around the earth and taking the pictures continuously. If your demand is, I want the data of the 16 Jan 2016, so they will check it in the arrival if it is there. If it is not, then they will fill that angle, or when that satellite will come on that particular region, then and then they will take pictures, and then after pre-processing only they will give. So there is no such a mechanism. They will directly take the pictures and give us pictures.
So is it a dummy data that you have taken?
No. It's not a dummy data. It's a date specific data, because my crop cycles of the cottons was from cotton is been shown on in the July to September month, and it has been harvested in the Feb or March.
So that crop calendar I need to consider for that, and that's why I need to do ground truthing as well as everything into this particular span of the 6 months. So, and that multi-day data also been considered into the span of 6 months. That's why in the monsoon I take that reset data which is not affected by the monsoon, and the optical data I have taken winters. So that is what the basic thing in the mechanisms in this particular data acquisition. So real time is not possible at all. NRSC is the only organization in India which is providing the satellite data throughout from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. Nobody can take by their own, even from the private vendors in the India.
Okay, sir, you had talked about the Fasal. So is this project is undertaken by the MRI?
Yes, yes. That's why that was my motivational point.
Work of that or what?
Yeah, that was my motivational point. There are very rude techniques is being used. Just still they are using the simple NDVI and that kind of thing, but they are prone to the errors. That I know that because I closely interact with that particular model actually, and that was really the motivation point for me. And that ISRO scientist, that Dr. Anil Kumar also was emphasizing the same. So that's why that's the motivation part. We should improve that kind of thing at least, because it's very on that basis you are fixing the commodity prices and all. And if there is an error into that data, then what will be the effect on the life of the people? That is very keen and very serious issue as such. That's why we need to address that actually basically. It's just an attempt that we have done. So many people can contribute to this field, and they can really have very good and wonderful things for the government basically. It's basically for the government, basically. But it is really affecting the common people also indirectly.
Any other question? This is a good piece of work. We have done a lot of implementations, and I think the implementation details are quite huge in the presentation. From the academic point of view, just one thing, one suggestion, two suggestions. First one is, why do you write this contextual soft clustering approach? Why soft clustering? Soft classification? Because this word soft means basically fuzzy, right? So soft classification, people, because in your implementation there is not really any fuzzy membership based thing, right? So probably you can revise this. Contextual classification should be good enough. You remove the word soft, otherwise it's misleading. And the second thing is...
Sir, even this...
he is on the verge of completion of 5 years. So the RRC of university recommends the title at the beginning of the section itself. So there is
and they have corrected it also.
title as well.
Sir, they have corrected it also. I have given some people.
So it is beyond scope of...
That's fine, okay. And the other thing is, since you have done so much of work on this SVM based classifiers and some of the kernel implementations you have done, but there should be some more classification, I mean there should be some more comparative study against other ensemble classifiers. SVM can be included in other ensemble models, I mean bagging, boosting type classifiers. So that can be one
That
thing.
will be the future.
Probably, I mean, yes, when you want to publish in a good remote sensing journal, I mean, you have got publications, but you should try, since the content of your work is very nice, I again and again say this. So you should try publishing this in some high-grade journals, especially like, say, Applied Soft Computing or IEEE Remote Sensing Geoscience Letters or Transactions on Remote Sensing, this kind of
So
places.
that I am targeting this. This work I didn't publish. I think
Oh, that's good,
This
yeah.
is done actually it's so late, so I didn't get time to publish.
Most often the reviewers of such journals will ask for comparative results against other techniques. So you can
I
use
would
them.
that could be the future of this.
Yes. Otherwise it's a very nice one. Thank you.